looking at the planet we live on,
Right.
which is mostly water. There's not much land.
Yeah.
If you can look at one side of the planet from space and look at the Pacific Ocean, and there's no land.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy that we have evolved to be like these like land only mammals, and that are not very optimal. Our bodies aren't optimal for like moving around in the ocean.
Right. And to an extent, we are evolved to be in the water because we all have this dive reflex, which is cool. But what's interesting is the dive reflex is actually conserved across all mammals. So if you teach mice to dive, which people have actually done in a lab setting, they have the dive reflex as well. So all mammals have this, ability to be in water and hold our breaths. But yeah, it's interesting that, again, like you said, there's such rich resources in these marine environments. So why is it that only specific populations have kind of gone back to that?
The dive. So what exactly is the dive reflex?
So this is where the spleen contraction happens.
The spleen contraction.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
spleen contraction, vasoconstriction, so the constriction of the blood vessels, and then also a slowing of the heart rate. And so that's something that's actually trainable. So the more you dive, the more your heart rate slows when you dive.
Right.
And also your resting heart rate gets lower as well.
Right.
And that's been observed in like competitive breath hold divers and traditional diving populations.
Yeah, because like, that dive reflex is interesting, but other animals that spent like look at birds. Like birds you can tell how they're adapted to dive underwater, at least water birds that hunt fish and things like that. They have those big webbed feet, and they have the feathers that like push water off, where they can fly, they can walk on the ground, and they're actually like physically adapted for water, for like sitting on the water or swimming through the water or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that, us, at least to like at the first glance, we don't look like we're made to be in the water.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's interesting. So if you spend a lot of time in cold water, especially, but mostly like divers, people who have water in their ears a lot, something happens it's called surfer's ear, because surfers sometimes get it too, or the bones in your inner ear change shape in a way that is permanent, and it could affect your hearing, and there's it has different effects.
I have that.
Okay.
I have raging tinnitus.
Okay.
From that.
So what's interesting is that your skeleton, people would then be able to tell, like, this is someone who spent a lot of time in the water. And so there's increasingly, we're seeing signs of human populations that we didn't previously think were spending a lot of time in the water who have this. And so, near rivers in like certain parts of the United States, we're finding skeletons that indicate that people in those areas may have been diving in the rivers.